Right, buddy, Manchester United obviously lost 1-0, a narrow defeat against Tottenham. In the game, I don't think we deserve to lose, to be honest with you. These are going to be the five things we learn analysing the game versus Tottenham. So let's get straight into it. Now, number one, the first thing we learned, shocking performance by the team. I think it was a performance where there was just no cohesion, there was no work rate, there was nothing. And yes, we had injuries, but Tottenham had a lot of injuries, and yes, they got players back, but the performance was unexcusable. It was so boring. There's no touches on the ball, no movement. And we can't use injuries as an excuse because the players that we have on the pitch, they're senior Premier League footballers like Casemiro, five-time Champions League winner. Like, these are sorts of players who have played a lot before, and the fact that they're making these, it wasn't even mistakes. It was just so boring, lethargic. Bruno trying silly passes, Garnacho missing silly 1v1s, Hoyland not really offering much. I think it was a very, very poor performance, and I think that's something AMORIM will be most frustrated about. Yes, it's a difficult period and a difficult time for Manchester United, but Tottenham are arguably, if not, I know on the table, but they're probably worse than us, to be honest with you. And I think the performance was inexcusable, and I think AMORIM will be most frustrated by that. I think going forward, Manchester United, we need to make sure we have players back fit. We need to make sure we have players. I think Ugarte, Collier, maybe next game or the game after. We're missing Euro, Ericsson, so listen, it was a performance not to be proud of by United. I don't think Spurs really so much. It was that one chance that they had that comes from an Onana mistake. De Ligt and Maguire not really alert on to get the ball, and that's where they score from, and that is really, really frustrating as a United fan. I would be fuming if that happened. Well, it did happen against us, but I was fuming at the fact that it was just that where it came from. Now, the second thing, Dorgu impressed. I thought Dorgu had a very good game, to be honest with you. Down that left-hand side, that's where you want to see him. And I think it was like Garnacho, for me, just half when he had the ball, he just didn't fancy playing it to Dorgu. There were so many overlapping runs, and I understand sometimes you got to use it as a decoy to kind of make sure or watch the player that's come in and make a trap. But there were so many times where he could have just used Dorgu as an option. And I really liked Dorgu's performance defensively on the ball. I think Onana, there was at one time later on in the game where he just set him up and really got a yellow card, but that was more on Onana. I think Dorgu looked comfortable on the ball. He had a few good shots, put a few good crosses into the box. I think he is definitely a talented player, and I think someone who can definitely develop in a Manchester United shirt. What we've seen so far of him in 2 games, one on the right, one on the left, he looked very sharp. He looks fitter than the whole team, and that's something that is needed. But his energy, his quality as well, soon gonna come. I think it's just nice to see someone with the left foot playing on the left-hand side. So yeah, I was very, very happy with Patrick Dorgu's performance. Now, number three, Xerxes impresses as well. I thought Xerxes' performance, to be honest with you, yesterday was a very good one. He was good on the ball, making nice runs. Yes, he probably doesn't have the pace, and he does have a work rate. He was running back quite a bit, to be fair. But Xerxes, he is a very, very good, like, technical player on the ball. He had a few good shots. Listen, he should have probably scored with that header and the one that just went wide of the post. I think what you can see from Xerxes is there's something there. He might not score goals and assists, but he's not an out-and-out number 9, and that's what we didn't bring him in for. He said that himself, and I think AMORIM's starting to learn that as well. I think you can, in this time of crisis, you're probably going to have to play Hoyland and Xerxes quite a bit, so you could potentially summon Blossom there as well. I think Xerxes, when you play him as a number 9, he doesn't offer enough. When you play him off the striker where he can link play in that inside 10, he does look very, very sharp. And yes, he didn't score, yes, he didn't get an assist, but I think from what we've seen from Xerxes in the recent games, he has really improved. So that is the third thing that we learned. Now, number 4, Casemiro, terrible. I don't want to see Casemiro honestly play again for Manchester United again. I know he probably will start the game against Everton because we just have no one else. He's talked about potentially staying at Manchester United. I do not want to see Casemiro play any more games for Manchester United. I think his career is over in the Premier League. He just hasn't got the legs. He hasn't got the quality anymore. And I think his performance is one yesterday where he was just getting bypassed. He was just getting over. And our Spurs midfield isn't great compared to what we had in there. And he was just getting overrun. Bruno wasn't helping, to be fair to you. But yeah, it was just a wolf. He was making mistakes. There was times where his passing was off. It was a performance to forget. And I think at 30, what is he, 31, 32... he's had one good season, and he's talked about how that was his best season in his career. It probably was. Obviously, yes, not in terms of trophies, but in terms of Casemiro, generally £350 a week, why would, obviously you can understand why he wants to stay. He's got 18 months left on his deal. It's the Premier League, it's the best league in the world. But as a United fan, and Ineos as well, Casemiro should be one of the first players to get out of this football club. But you can't have him playing anymore. for Manchester United, particularly now and particularly going forward. So very, very frustrated with that. I don't know why AMORIM kept him on, to be honest with you. Now, the fifth and final thing, I want to talk about AMORIM. He must trust the youth. Listen, the youth, we had no other choice. I mean, what was it? An average bench age was 19 years. The only two people on our bench who have played a senior game was Lindelof, who's played for United, and Aidan Heaven, who's played a couple games for Arsenal. Other than that, we had Eli Harrison, Jack Morehouse, Sekou Kone, Chidiobi. Like, the fact that AMORIM gave Chidiobi 3 minutes is a disgrace. At least give him 15-20 minutes to do. I don't know if you got a touch on the ball, but AMORIM, with these amount of injuries that we have, he's going to learn to trust the youth. And I think you could really see how we did miss Ahmad. We missed Collier, Mainu, Ugarte as well. And I think with these long-term injuries, the season, yes, it's over, but we still got the Cups, we still got the Europa League to play for. We must be able to show something in the remaining parts that we have. And I think this is really on AMORIM. Yesterday, he should have just gave him something. Surely Sekou Kone couldn't be any worse than what Casemiro was showing. Surely it couldn't have been that bad for him to be not even use them and only give Chidiobi 3 minutes. So that was something I was very frustrated about. But other than that, listen, it was a performance to forget for Manchester United. A very, very sloppy performance. A performance where it didn't really offer anything, to be honest with you. I think Manchester United just, it just didn't, we didn't do anything to kind of deserve the win. I mean, actually, no, I don't think we deserved the loss. Looking back at it, Garnacho had chances. Two, Xerxes had that one. It should have been a draw at least for me, which was the fair result. But listen, let's see what happens. Leave a like. If you enjoyed, these have been the 5 things. Like, comment, subscribe. We move on. It's another big week. We play Everton on Saturday. I genuinely feel in that game. And then we play, is it Everton, then we go to we play at home to Ipswich. So it's not going to be an easy few games for Manchester United. We just lost to Spurs. We currently sit 15th in the league. If West Ham win and we lose our game, we'll be in 16th. Like, genuinely, you have to look at relegation at a point in this season. But listen, the positives from the Spurs game, I thought Xerxes, Dorgu impressed. I thought Casemiro, Bruno mainly were our 2 poorest players. I think Onana didn't help with that sloppy mistake. But listen, there's opportunities, there's time for us to improve. It's just all about seeing out to the end of the season, get AMORIM transfers in, get some players out, and that's ultimately where we're going to build, because at the moment it is a massive struggle watching Manchester United play. It's just boring football, just negative football, it's not even football at this point. It's just that we just can't seem to score a goal. But listen, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you for watching. Hope you did enjoy. There have been the 5 things we've learned from Manchester United 0, Tottenham 1.